hello to you all. So, in today's topic, we're talking about the State of the Union, or Joe Biden's political campaign. So, last night I did stream the Joe Biden campaign rally. And so, if you missed it, you can always check it out. But today I want to just hone in on some key moments that I thought that needs to have a spotlight on it. And so that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to start from the beginning of it, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to break it up and do these things. So this might be in multiple videos with each subject. So thank you for coming by and checking out my thoughts and opinions on the Joe Biden poo-poo show, crap show, shit show. We'll do it that way. Okay, so let's do it. We're gonna first see him. The very beginning of this opening is the first thing he wants to talk about is Ukraine and overseas and their sovereignty and their democracy and their, you would have called it the state of the, if you didn't know this was supposed to be about America, you would have called it the state of Ukraine union, right? That's really what it was. That was the most important thing to get in, right? That was the top of mind, the most important thing for them to do, for Joe Biden to do, was to come out here to talk about foreign countries and saving foreign countries and protecting them and all of that. And to hell with America, to hell with the union, the American, the Americas, the Americas, and the state of the American Union. So let's get into it right now.
Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either.
Just so we're clear, this is Joe Biden just fresh out the gates, already mumbling and stumbling through it. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you can find it. So I'm going to be stopping and really reacting to this. So here he goes, mumbling and bumbling through all of this.
Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas.
How can we be under attack both at home and overseas? Home is home and overseas is overseas. We're not overseas, we're home.
At the very same time, overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
This is how you open this thing up. This is out the gate, fresh out the gate. This is how he comes to advocate for foreign countries. I mean, there has been no other president, Joe Biden's no president, but you know what I'm saying, who hates America more than this fool that we're seeing right now. There has been no other president who puts other countries before your own like this guy right here. Do you think that Vladimir Zelensky is going to address his country and the first thing he's going to talk about is the invasion at the border for America, the invasion that's happening at our borders? Is he going to talk about the people that's dying from fentanyl on our country? Do you think he's going to talk about all of this migration, all of these illegals crossing the border in our country, the invasion? No, No, they're not talking. Do you think he's going to talk about how high the prices is here, how bad the economy is when it comes to all of this high prices here in America? No, they ain't talking about you, because they're addressing their nation, they're addressing their country, and that goes for any other country except for America, who puts everybody ahead of your own. You're a disgrace. Well, up on your feet.
But Ukraine,
Now look at her. Up on your feet.
Ukraine,
This is what. Oh, what a shot. What a shot. The look on her face, she's got like disdain on her face for Joe Biden. And it was like that throughout the night. And during my live stream, I actually pointed it out. Like every time she stands up on her feet, and it's all this disdain look on her face as she stares down at his bald head, at his head, right? And Mike Johnson, he had the most epic faces during this thing. Like if words could tell what he was thinking, what was going through his mind, you already know. And there were points he was shaking his head, like, but wow, I mean, he kept it together as Joe Biden ranted on and on and on and on about nonsense. But every time she got up, she was just like the other a State of the Unions. Every time Joe Biden said, she was on her feet. Insanity.
Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself. That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers in war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley. History is watching. We're watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child. But the Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to ABS. Guarantee it nationwide. Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more. Thank you.
Before we go on, so the women in white, they all are protesting for abortion rights. A friend of mine I had a conversation with a friend just now, and we were talking just about this. How is it that white is the color of purity? White is the color of angels. White is the color of glory. White is the color of life. But these demons put on the armor of white to protest in reference to life. Their color should really be black or death or red or anything else. Because what they are protesting about is the right to be able to kill, the right to be able to terminate, the right to be able to murder, the right to be able to finish. That's what the rights are. That's what they're standing up for. And we're going to see Joe Biden express just how much love that he has and his administration have for the sanctity of life, for the sanctity, the purity of life. And you'll see how angry he gets in reference to this. I mean, again, friends, it's pure evil what we are seeing. It's pure evil. And we know that the demons are in control here.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk.
What did he just say? Mumbling Biden, I don't understand what you just said. I really did not get it.
If she didn't act, because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber.
He said to get the treatment they need. I didn't realize that killing a baby was a treatment. I didn't realize that it was a treatment, like some disease you got, like cancer. You know, I didn't realize that you needed treatment when it came to a woman. And again, rape and incest makes up about 1%. Okay, 1% of the numbers when it comes to the abortion. It's 1% from rape and incest. And the 99% of the other abortions are just birth control. It's treatment. It's treatment. It needs to be, that's the disease. That's the sickness. That's the illness. It needs to be treated because it's birth control. 99%. And this is a man standing up here, angry, viciously angry, because Donald Trump got Roe v. Wade overturned. Donald Trump did it. And if we don't see the difference right now in this moment, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, if we don't see the difference right now, and he just said it out of his own mouth, you know, Donald Trump wanted this. Donald Trump wanted this. He wanted life. He wanted to preserve life. He wanted to do this for people. He wanted to do this for children. He wanted to do this for the unborn. And here is Joe Biden telling you how he's sick of Donald Trump, how he's so angry with Donald Trump for doing this. Friends, it's night and day, black and white, good and evil. God, this is such a beautiful moment. Anybody with common sense looking at this and hear this particular moment in Joe Biden's speech and not realize, my God, look at this man and what he is saying. And in the same breath, he's telling you, he is making Donald Trump a villain because Donald Trump wanted life. Donald Trump fought for life. It's upside down, friends. It's really upside down. Good versus evil. Donald Trump good, Joe Biden evil. And that's what we're looking at right now.
Chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
Look at this scene. This is the shot right here. Look at Chuck Schumer. Look at them. These are the justices. These are the last line of defense in this country. These people were able to overturn death to life. And Joe Biden stands there, a dictator, and whips out his lashing to beat the Supreme Court, the last shred of decency in this country when it comes to the establishments. These people right here, he stands there. If Donald Trump had stood there and done this, can you imagine the outrage? Can you imagine the conversations? Can you imagine the news media going bananas? How dare he addresses the Supreme Court this way? How dare he? But Joe Biden can stand there, a dictator, and address the most Supreme Court of the land this way. He could come out of his mouth and nobody has nothing to say. But the justices know. Look at them. Look at them. They all know. They're all thinking the same thing. Joe Biden, you are a disgrace. No president should be able to stand in this chamber and spew this kind of hate towards a body of the people. But there you stand. There you stand, Joe Biden. And whip out your Crack-A-Whip. And you crack the whip on this law of the land. Disgraceful. And they all know it. All the justices know it. You see it right on their faces.
Clearly.
And of course, the women in white, they love that, right? The angels. The angels. Well, there's angels and then there's demons. So obviously they are demons. And I'm not being funny in reference to all of this. We all know that there's good and evil, and there's angels and there's demons. But tonight, these demons put on white and they clap for death. They clap for the destruction of human life. It is disgraceful. Completely, utterly, totally disgraceful.
Clearly. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024. If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again. Folks, America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses. Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives of loved ones, millions left behind. A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news, but in 1,000 cities and towns, the American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told. So let's tell the story here. Tell it here and now. America's comeback is building a future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot. We leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does. Folks, I inherited economies on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record. Unemployment at 50-year lows. A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in the family farm, I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America. That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is bright. It's because of you. that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
Mike Johnson is just his way this with this interaction to during this thing was amazing. His facial expressions, priceless. We love Mike Johnson.
Tonight,
This, friends, is the chamber. This is not a rally. Not a rally. Can you imagine what the news would say if this was Donald Trump and people were doing that in there 4 more years, as if it was a Trump rally? Who could stand up there and say 4 more years of this nonsense? These people would, because they hate America. They see what's happening to this country, the destruction, the violence, all of it. But they stand here and they clap for 4 more years of Joe Biden. Unbelievable.
tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state as mortgage rates come down. Those folks, don't hold me to the exact number. And across America. I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well. And the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years.
I tell you, these people, this is how he plans to win. This is how he plans to get people to vote, to throw a bone to them. Hey, we're going to give $400 towards you buying a house. Yo, I can't. And they're on their feet as if it's gospel, as if it's wonderful news. You know? It's crazy.
And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust law.
That's about all I think I'm going to do with this, friends. I'm going to just leave it here because I can't. Gosh, was there another moment that I wanted to cover? Yeah, I think that was it. Just the abortion and the SCOTUS moment. And maybe the Lincoln Riley. You know what? Yeah, I want to do that. Let's find that clip. I think it's towards the end.
Look, I'm also getting rid of junk fees, those hidden fees. We have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. The opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But I'm charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice. if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it. You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it.
Look at this old. This is Joe Biden is the old man. This is not a leader of a country. This is not a powerhouse. This is an old man who people are appeasing to. This is an old man that people are patting him on the back. This is not a leader of a country. Good Lord.
Look, I'm also getting rid of junk fees, those hidden fees at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8. Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot like $8 and 30 some dollars. They don't like it. Credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating. Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers and bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win, he viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him, it's not about me. I'd be a winner, not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay.
So I want to pick up on this because I missed this part last night. So what he said was, first of all, he got her name wrong. Her name is Lakin, not Lincoln. But any event, he gets her name wrong. And then what he says is that she was killed by an illegal. At least he said it the right way. But what he said after that was how many other people have been killed by legal Americans, like by Americans. And he's making the contrast that, okay, this one girl was killed by an illegal, but there's a whole bunch more of Americans that's being killed by other Americans, which is a great contrast. But at least he's acknowledging that, okay, we have a crime problem in this country. Actually, he's not acknowledging that, Amania. We have a crime problem in this country, but I don't know, there was just something there, and I wanted to just touch on that he said that yes, this one was killed by an illegal, but we have a whole lot more killings being done by the hands of Americans. Um, at least that's what I got out of that.
Pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by, and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth it taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 months, 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now. And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not separate families. I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, and ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all Americans. Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it.
What he fails to mention that there is a bill. It's sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk. And I really wish Mike Johnson would have brought it with him and say, here, Joe Biden, here is the bill here is the bill that's really going to fix the border, and not put a band-aid on it like you want to do. Here's the bill that's really going to get this done. So, friends, that's going to be it. I just wanted to recap on some of the key moments that I wanted to talk about. I think I covered them all. One was definitely the beginning of how he opened about putting Ukraine first above Americans, and as if this was Ukraine's State of the Union. And then I definitely wanted to touch bases on the abortion conversation, and I wanted to touch base on SCOTUS and how he treated them, and the border with Lake and Riley being murdered by the illegal. So those are the points that I really wanted to just look into. So I do have the live stream there. You are free to go and watch the whole thing. I kind of made it was just more comic than anything. I made a lot of fun in reference to them, so it was fun to do. So, but this was more of a serious area. I really wanted to just cover some of this foolishness. So, any event, that's going to be it. Thank you. God bless you. God keep you. And I'll see you in another video. Take care.